really wasn't sure about like how I was going to go about talking about this really, but I've been thinking about doing a video like this for quite some time. And I know there's a lot of people that may watch this video. They're going to be like, is this guy talking about me or something? Is this guy accusing me of being an idiot, a moron or something? Listen, it's got to be said. And I have no problem saying it. I love my country very much. Our country is a good country. It's got great opportunities. People can literally come here to be whatever they want to be, as long as you work hard for it. I'm a firm believer in like the merit-based system of people basically being able to accomplish whatever, as long as you have the right mindset. And hey, listen, as a man, I'm 41 years old. I have failed many, many times, more times than I could possibly count. And the thing is like, I still get reminded of my failures quite a bit. But guess what? That's a part of life. The only thing you can do is just kind of learn from your mistakes and just kind of press on. And one of the things I kind of have a tendency to do wrong is I have a tendency to dwell on my mistakes, dwell on what I do wrong. But that's just because I care. I care very deeply about like what I do, and that's why I invest so much time in it. But the problem is though, is that, and I have no problem saying this, our country is filled with morons. It is filled with people that are fucking stupid. And the reason why I say this, and this is why I'm just being so vulgar about it, is because it's true. And here's the funny part, is that I know some people might take exception to being called a moron or being called stupid. But you gotta understand, the reason why I say this is because data actually backs it up. I mean, allow me. Now, this was a study from 2023. Not even, it's just over a year old, okay? This is the top 10 US literacy statistics. 79% of US adults are literate in 2022. 21% of adults in the US are illiterate in 2022. 54% of adults have a literacy below the 6th grade level. 21% of Americans 18 and older are illiterate in 2022. Low literacy rates, this is important, end up costing Americans up to $2.2 trillion every year. Massachusetts has the highest literacy rate. New Mexico has the lowest literacy rate. New Hampshire has the most 18 and older people that are literate, with over 90% of them, while California has the lowest literacy rate, with 23% having little to no proficiency in reading skills. And throughout the United States, there were 66% of children in the 4th grade who couldn't read well in 2013. Now, there's no updates to this whatsoever, but for being the world's #1 country, this is a shocking set of numbers here. And you gotta ask, where does the responsibility lie? Who is to blame for this? Because whenever I look at, like, I remember, like, I wasn't the greatest student in school, and I'll be perfectly honest about this. I was a good student. I always paid attention, but I sucked at taking tests. I was awful at taking tests. Like, I would sit there with the teachers, and they would help me with assignments, like with math being like one of the worst subjects I've ever done. But I tried. I tried so hard, but then there would be that one person that did very, very well in tests, and they aced the class. Me, I was jealous of that person. But the thing is, though, is like the fact that there are so many people in this country that are illiterate is shocking to me, let alone adults in this country that are illiterate. This is horrific to think about. And the reason why this is important is because the thing that I've realized is that there are people in this country that will pay attention to their favorite news media outlet, but they won't do any additional research after they've read or seen something. They won't look into it. They'll read the headlines, make a determination, and that's all it is. That's all they believe in. And I find that just completely unacceptable, but it's not surprising. because we are a world where, especially in this country, where something has to capture our attention and we are drawn to it. Reality television and social media dominates the airwaves. Most mainstream media outlets dominate the airwaves, but it's just nothing but pure entertainment. Good journalism is dying, honestly. But we're allowing it to die. Why? Because we continue to tune into the same people that continue to feed us all this misinformation and don't do real journalism, honestly. There are very few journalism outlets out there where I feel like I could actually get the full story. One of them being Zateo with Mehdi Hassan. Great platform. Yes, he might be a progressive, but at least I feel like he's always going to hold both sides accountable, which I'm completely okay with. But the problem is, though, he is not the mainstream media outlets. We're talking about CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, ABC News, CBS News, what have you. Now listen, I don't think that the mainstream media is the enemy of the people, unlike some certain people do. I don't think that they are bad people. I just think that at times they are looking for what sells. Sell the sizzle, not the steak. The reason why I bring this up is because we have decreased as a society. We no longer care about what's accurate. We care about what's selling right now. And when you have a country where 54% of the people in this country have a literacy rate at the 6th grade level, that's a problem. And again, I'm not saying the people that have that reading level can't vote. I'm simply saying they are misinformed. Sadly, misinformed. I mean, I really don't know how much more I can stress into this, but it's because this is a country filled with morons. People that are just complete idiots. I mean, we are a country that is run by wild conspiracy theories. I mean, look at this. I mean, here's the thing. If we could control the weather, don't you think we'd try to make the weather pleasant year-round? Don't you think we'd try to make it better? But we don't control the weather. If we could control the weather, don't you think we would prevent all these hurricanes from happening and these tornadoes from happening? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You must be one of those people that thinks that, this is, they're just sending these hurricanes in there deliberately, right? Just like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who insists that space lasers actually carved a pathway in California because they were going to put the railway system in there. People are dumb enough to actually believe in this. Like, I really can't fathom how dumb you have to be to actually believe this crap. It's not true. The United States government cannot control the weather. If we could, why wouldn't we actually use it as a weapon? But we don't. But you're dumb enough to believe this stuff because you don't do the goddamn research. And it bothers the hell out of me that you actually have the audacity to call people like me a simp or a drone for the government because I don't check out other sources. I actually do. I do my research on these topics. The problem is you're listening to the nut jobs, the people that have no credibility, the people that are not qualified to have discussions on these. But you're not going to listen to me. You're going to listen to whoever the hell you want to listen to because you're too stubborn to actually think outside the box. This is why I am having such a difficult time with people that think they know better than I do when they don't do any additional research. They are sadly misinformed voters. They didn't vote in this last election based upon the economy because if they did, they wouldn't have voted for Donald Trump. They probably would have voted for Kamala Harris, but they had their reasons. Maybe they were talking about the border. Okay, fine. We can talk about the border all day long. But the thing is, you read the headlines. You read the headlines, but you don't actually do the research on the topics. Now listen, I'll admit, there are times like where I've argued with people about the border, and I've argued with people that actually work on the border about what's going on down there. And I'll admit, I'm not the most well-educated, but I'm not a single issue voter though. There are multiple issues that I believe, and this is why I voted Democrat and why I'm going to continue to vote Democrat, because there's a lot of issues that I feel like they most align with my values. But there are people in this country that don't know shit about the economy. They don't know shit about foreign policy. They don't know shit about like what tariffs are. And again, I talked about it in my last video. Tariff searches spiked after the election. That's a problem. If you don't know the issues, you need to Google the shit before the election, not after the election. But this is the problem. We are surrounded by morons in this country that don't do the damn research. And I don't care if people get upset because I'm being honest. I'm just telling it like the way it is. There are people in this country that are sadly misinformed, and I blame the mainstream media outlet for not doing its damn job. Not everybody can be Caitlin Collins. Not everybody can be Jim Acosta. Not everybody can do the same job. But god damn it, I'm so sick and tired of people. If you're a journalist, it's your job to keep us informed. It's your job to tell us what's what. And it's not your job to be partisan. But sadly, politics has infiltrated the mainstream media outlets. And you got networks like Fox, OAN, Newsmax that are basically propaganda stations 24/7. All they do is just ride the coattails and just basically dick ride on Donald Trump and the rest of the conservative base because they don't want to be denounced by these guys. And I know people are like, oh, wait, where's your announcement of CNN? Listen, I said CNN and I said MSNBC, okay? But I'm simply putting out the fact that the mainstream media, and they are mainstream media outlets, are basically controlling the narrative and they are misinforming their audience. And I think that's irresponsible. And listen, it's the job of the mainstream media to keep the populace informed about what's going on. But it's the job of the teachers to make sure that students are taught properly. Unfortunately now, you got people that say we should get rid of the Department of Education because we need to bring education back down to the state level. It is brought down to the state level though. That's the thing. There are states across the country that have every say in what is being taught in the classroom. It's not the Department of Education. They just make sure that you've got the funding. So that way, like things like special education programs are kept alive, essentially. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. But when you've got certain secretaries of state that think it's more important to get Trump Bibles instead of just making sure that your children have free school breakfast and lunches, you might have a problem. If you think it's better to teach things like creationism in a public school or insist that school prayer be done because, you know, and listen, I don't hate Christians. I don't hate Muslims. I don't hate anybody. But the thing is, there's a time and a place for that. If you're going to be allowing Christians to pray in school, you better allow the Muslims to do it. You better allow the Buddhists to do it. Hell, everybody, even the Satanists, had better be allowed to pray too, damn it. But our priorities are fucking wrong in this country. We are not focused on what's important. And I know there's going to be a lot of people out there who's like, wait a second, why are you picking on the religious folk? Why can't you talk about the trans stuff? Because the trans issue is not our primary focus. We talk about it because we just believe that trans people have a right to exist. They have a right to, you know, be in the same public spaces as we are. And we believe that they should be treated with dignity and respect. It's that simple. I mean, I hear religious people say treat people the way you want to be treated, but they don't seem to practice these same principles. Trans people they do exist. They are here. They are here to stay. They're not going anywhere, okay? I mean, these are issues that they've been struggling with for a long time, and now they're trying to make themselves feel like they actually are the person they are meant to be. And you're telling them, no, you're wrong. But I'm getting off track again, but it's just, it's absolutely insane to me. I mean, here's a statistic real quick. 13th. So when people say we are the number one country, in what category are we number one? Now, I don't give a shit if you think, well, if you have such a problem, why don't you just leave? Why the fuck would I leave a country that I love so much? Loving my country is understanding that it has problems and it needs to be fixed. The first step in solving a problem is identify that there is one. And it's as in the movie, or not movie, but the TV series Newsroom with Jeff Daniels, America is no longer the greatest country. And there's a multitude of reasons as to why. And one of them that he mentioned on there is, we didn't scare so easy back in the day. And now I'm kind of paraphrasing, but it's true. Our country scares way too easily. And the reason why is because we are seriously misinformed. We're told about what kind of people to fear. We're told about what kind of ideologies to fear. We're not educated nearly enough about why diversity is important. Why it's okay to recognize different religions, and why it is okay to recognize that people have different gender or sexual orientation. I am a progressive, and I do believe that progress is thinking forward. Now, there might be some extremists on the left that are just basically saying, if you don't believe in this, you're automatically a phobe of some sort. We can't do that, okay? Some people just don't know, and they're not going to learn unless you talk to them about these issues. Because some people just honestly don't know. I mean, it's taken me years to kind of come to this point. But the thing is our country needs to educate itself all over again. But we're too stubborn. We can't get out of our own way because we're so hard-headed in this country. And I really wish that people actually took the time to study these issues, but we won't do it. Why? Because we're lazy. Why? Because the mainstream media is lazy at times. They go for what sells better instead of actually teaching what's important. And that's a problem. I mean, it's not a coincidence that people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, her district is one of the most uneducated districts in the state of Georgia. I mean, she's not the brightest crayon in the box either. Maybe that's why people flock to her. And I don't care if people are offended by this. I'm just calling it for what it is. I mean, the data is all there. It bothers me to no end how dumb and uninformed our country is. And this is one of the reasons why I don't think I could ever run for office. It's because people might feel alienated by this. But I feel it's my duty as a content creator, not a very big one, to just say it. Our country is filled with morons, and we've got to do better to educate each other. That's why I say, for all of us that happen to lean left, anytime you see a bit of misinformation, you gotta flood the zone with proper information. And you just gotta just flood the zone, and you gotta make it to the point to where it's become so overwhelming the other side cannot counter it. It's hard to do, I know, because I interact with a lot of conservatives all the time. And I don't think they're bad people, I just think they're sadly misinformed. But I feel like it's our job, because I don't think the mainstream media is doing enough job of it, of informing the populace the best way, only way you can, and that's with the proper information. Sources, bring receipts, do what you gotta do. Help people understand that, the mainstream media is not there to help you anymore. It's up to us, the American citizens. Then maybe one day, the mainstream media outlets might take notice. I mean, I could talk about this for hours on end, but I wanted to keep this as a very quick video. So, and again, if you're offended by this video, and if you think I'm talking about you, you might want to take a reflection on yourself. You may want to take a look in the mirror and ask, damn, am I misinformed? It might be. And if you feel like I'm calling you a moron, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. The time for diplomacy has bypassed. Now it's just time for me to be honest. Just the kind of person I am. So if you get mad at me, that's entirely your right. I can't control that. But if you think that, you could challenge me on this, you're always welcome to come on my platform and we could talk about this one-on-one. I have no problem discussing things to the other side. And if you feel alienated, again, I don't care. I am here just to say what's on my mind. You don't have to like it. Don't give a shit. Anyway, if you like this video, feel free to hit like, share, subscribe, and I will see you the next time on the Alex Curse Project. Take care.